let's take, we haven't talked to Brandon in a long time.
Ooh, okay. Uh-oh.
What? You just
return
sorry. To queue. Return Jonathan to queue.
Okay. Hold on.
Hello?
Return to queue. Hold on just a second.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hold on just a second. I clicked two calls.
Two calls at once.
Yeah, so.
All right, Brandon, can you hear us?
I can.
Perfect. All right, Brandon, am I wrong? Did you talk with me and Holy Kool-Aid a couple months ago?
I don't know if it was a couple of months ago. It's been a little while since I've called in. So, but most of the time it was with you and Eric.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome back to the show.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What can we help you with today?
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about, I think that your understanding of original sin and the goodness and severity of God is just, it's quite skewed. So sure. I just kind of wanted to clear that up.
We have hundreds of years of church fathers weighing in on what they think original sin means and how we get it. St. Augustine thought that we got original sin. You know how?
How?
You know why it's impossible to be born without original sin?
Why?
Because you always have to have an orgasm as a dude to create a person.
Really?
And orgasms are bad, which is why Jesus is perfect, because he was the only baby created without an orgasm.
Oh, I feel real bad.
Yeah, no, it's according to the Bible, which you can read yourself, when Adam and Eve were first running around in the garden, they were naked and not ashamed. And once they ate the fruit, then they knew they were naked and tried to cover themselves up with fig leaves. And then that's when God also said to the serpent, I'm going to sow enmity between your seed and the woman's seed. And he's talking about DNA.
He shall crush his head. Yes, we got it.
We read the book.
We were part of that book club.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. But I'm trying to point out that he's talking about our DNA changed at that particular point. That's why it's totally natural for us to sin.
Who changed the DNA?
And how can we tell?
No, wait, seriously. This is a question I've had for many people, and I've never gotten to actually, I don't think, ask it on the show. But Brandon, I'm going to take advantage of this. Who changed the DNA?
The fact of sin, that when they ate the fruit, and they accepted Satan's words over God's words,
the truth
that
over
literally went in and changed the DNA.
Okay, so sin changed the DNA.
That's why he said, I'm going to sow enmity between your seed and the woman's seed. Seed represents DNA.
Okay, but God said, I'm going to sow. So isn't God the one changing the DNA here? Or is he?
Sure, because God is Jesus. So that's why he was saying that, that the man-child that's going to be born is going to crush the head of the serpent. He's already, prophesying basically that Jesus is God.
I get that it's a prophecy, but you're saying that sin changed the physical nature of our DNA. Does that mean that sin is as
sure? That's why.
Do you think that sin is a more powerful creator than God is? Sin went in and changed God's creation as an active agent. Well, that's intense.
That's exactly why God said, "Do not eat the fruit, lest you die."
That seems like God isn't very powerful if sin can go in and change his creation.
Well, these are the effects of sin. This is the severity of not listening to pure truth. When pure truth tells you don't eat the fruit, you should listen.
Wait, no. God told them a lie. He lied about it. Satan was the one who told the truth. He said, you will be like gods. You will know good and evil, and then eat the fruit.
Whoa. No. So you're telling me that Satan's the good guy?
I'm not making good or bad claims. I'm just saying that the one who was telling the truth in that situation wasn't God. It was the serpent.
Not at all. He said, you will not die. That's right. There's the first lie coming right out of his mouth. And it causes them to doubt God's word. There's the biggest problem of mankind is that, you don't want the absolute truth. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I mean, it blows me away that such smart people like most of the atheist community want to deny God when God showed up and proved that he's real. Okay. How do you deny it now?
Wow. Yes.
Do you want to, or because I'm going to take it in a different direction?
Well, he already did. So
okay, that's fine. Brandon, first off, when you talk about intelligence that way, I think that is a blade that cuts both directions. Don't do it. I tell atheists, don't do it. I see a lot of atheists who will go, oh, look at those dumb Christians. It's terrible. It's condescending, and it has nothing to do with whether or not they can evaluate the world around them. And I'm going to be just as honest with you as I am with other atheists and say intelligence is not a good tactic. Don't do it. So that said,
well, I'm trying to show respect by that comment. I meant no disrespect.
That's okay, but I have to be consistent here with the way that I treat people. And that out of the way, though, you talked about, and people are going to nail us in the comments because they're going to say, you didn't bring up this and this and this. We can only bring up one thing at a time, so keep your panties on. So Brandon, sorry.
Wow, you're in a mood today.
I am.
All right.
But Brandon, that's because you were saying that doubt is a problem. Is the biggest problem. Is that what you said?
Well, I mean, it's more, the actual disobedience is the problem.
Okay, so is doubt a problem at all?
It certainly can be. I mean, yes, doubt can lead to a lot of bad things in many situations.
And truth can lead to a lot of bad things, and lies can lead to a lot of bad things. That has nothing to do with whether or not. So let's talk about doubt. Why is doubt bad?
Well, I mean, it's, when you doubt, we'd have to kind of go back into Genesis again. We know that Adam.
Here's the thing. I don't want you to contextualize it in the story, because I think that when you throw in a lot of flowery language, when you throw in a lot of pseudo metaphors, you have a whole lot of wiggle room, and I want to pin you down on this. Why is doubt bad?
I mean, it's not always bad. I mean, as far as doubt is it can be something that is useful to lead to truth, to make you question things in search of truth.
I agree. Okay, but, so if someone doubts God's existence, is that
when
good?
God? What was that? Sorry.
If someone doubts God's existence, is that good too?
I think it's natural. You know what I mean? But there's the problem, though, is that our nature is already screwed up because of what happened to our DNA. We inherited Satan's DNA. That is why fornication, lying, adultery, all of this is natural to us.
Brandon, there are so many different directions I want to take this. It's ridiculous, but it is taking away from, and we're not going to get a single topic out of it if we continue to go in different delicious directions, which is why you have to call back.
Yeah.
So going back to doubt, and I really want you to call in about Satan's DNA, please, for V's birthday. Call back in about Satan's DNA later. But This one, doubt. You said that doubt is a problem. And then when I asked you about it, you said it's sometimes a problem. When is doubt a problem?
Well, when you doubt God, who for God, it's impossible for him to lie.
Okay,
He's pure truth. So, I mean,
hold on.
Pure truth is madness.
Brandon, let's take this a step at a time. The step here is when you doubt God, it's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem, yes.
Okay, why?
Because, he's pure truth. He's,
okay.
I mean, it's
God is pure truth. That doesn't actually respond to why doubting God is a problem.
Well, because, honestly, God came and laid down his life on a cross for us.
I don't believe that.
So
I think
why
that's
would you think
story, Brandon?
Okay,
so no.
I know you don't believe that, but I'm just trying to tell you, according to the Bible, God became a man, laid down his life on the cross. So
and
why
according to Lord of the Rings,
play
they took
games
the
with your soul
and tossed it in? I don't care. So here's
Sure,
the thing:
but
is you have to convince me it's true to use that story to convince me, right? So convince me that story is true before you point back to that story as your reasoning, because otherwise we could just point back to fairy tales. We can point back to the Brothers Grimm. Oh, that's a bad example. We can point back to.
Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. If the quote unquote story is true, then wouldn't it be just, nonsensical for God to play games with your soul after he went to so much trouble that you wouldn't have to go to hell?
That was a seed that got me to stop believing, actually. Mm-hmm. You should keep pulling on that string and see where it lies, because I'm telling you right now that if the only thing stopping you from exploring that amazing bit of doubt that you just expressed is because it's bad, that is thought policing. It is terrible and terrifying. You wouldn't expect it from a government. You wouldn't want it in a country. You wouldn't want it in a relationship. And you certainly wouldn't want it from a deity. Don't thought police yourself. Ask yourself that question. If God created people and put all of this work in, then why the fuck would he not want you to know about him? Or why would he send Brandon to call in instead of appearing to everyone at once? Why is there so much disagreement?
He already did, though, on the cross.
Not here now, Brandon. Did he check out? Was he like Dad, went out for a pack of smokes and never came home? If you think that God still cares or is relevant, then you pointing back to the Bible, again, which is a story that I don't believe, is irrelevant. You had a really great piece of doubt right there. And that is, if God put all of this work in, then why does God apparently not care enough now? Because God appeared on the road to Damascus to Paul, or Saul, right? Appeared on the mount.
But kind of in a different form than actually in, God the Father in spirit form.
Technically, most of California is a burning bush right now. It's not exactly convincing, so.
Yeah, but there's so many things that we could talk about on this subject, but I'm just, because there's so much about, the Bible that I think you don't understand. That's why you have a hard time believing it's true. And it just, it just sounds like a bunch of nonsense to you. I'm somebody that's.
See, here's the thing, Brandon. We think that you're a rational person. And we're treating you, whether or not you're rational, we're treating you like a rational person who has come to.
I think I'm a rational person.
So treat us with the same amount of respect.
I really, I understand completely. I went through the same educational system you guys did. I grew up with the
I don't think you went through my educational system.
No, you don't.
I wouldn't wish my educational system on anyone.
Yeah.
But no, okay.
Here's
the thing. We were where you are. And I know that's a terrifying thing to hear sometimes. And sometimes it can come across as very dismissive. And I don't mean it in that way at all. I don't mean that, we got past that and now we're somewhere, better, even though I believe that. But the point here is that you can walk away from this conversation thinking that we don't understand the Bible. But it was studying, I can only speak for myself here, but it was studying the Bible so much that I started uncovering all of the small little threads to start pulling on all of that doubt that led me away.
Present you my evidence. Let me present you my evidence for knowing that you do not understand the Bible. Is right off the bat, you think God is cruel for throwing everybody into hell.
Well, and that
actually, you don't know him.
Thank you for bookending my statement. I appreciate it. When you're saying you don't understand, instead of you're a rational agent who has come to this conclusion, do you understand the difference? I think that you understand things and you're just applying the best tools you have. I'm not saying, Brandon, you don't understand. You're just having trouble with this topic, Brandon. That's why you're not at our place, right? No. I think you're using the best tools you have available. That's why I think there's a problem with your tools. But to say there's a problem, it's evidence you don't understand it, what you're doing is you're writing us off for the wrong reason. We understand.
Well, just so you understand my position, I believe prophecy completely proves that the Bible is 100% truth.
And we've talked about it. And if you would like to know more about it, please refer to your last call that had to do with that and see what our answers are. If you have responses to those answers, please call back and let us know what the response is to those answers. But I don't want to have the same conversation because you didn't decide to go back and watch the last call that we went over it.
I believe we actually went over prophecy in the Freethought episode as well.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. Murphy's Law, youtube.com/Eric D. Murphy.
Yeah, no, but I'm just trying to point out that my position is, of course, that the Bible is 100% truth. It's given us historical truth, philosophical truth, truth for living, everything. God's not, I don't believe God's going to play games with my soul. But
and yet the God that you're saying exists is absolutely doing that, and even that just assumes the God exists in the first place.
Is this the same God that said, put lamb's blood on your lintel or I'm going to kill every firstborn, whether or not they believe in me, and potentially play, I would say that's a game with a bunch of souls of firstborn kids?
Which was a picture, which was showing you a picture, a foreshadowing of the cross.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
To prove the Bible's true.
Does that have anything to do with this the statement that V made? I don't care. Okay. Does that make it better?
Well, I think you should be concerned with whether or not Jesus was telling the truth about who he claimed to be.
No, Brandon. So hold on a second. If I went around my neighborhood and killed everybody's kids, and they said, Eric, why did you do that? That's terrible. I say, it's not terrible, Brandon. I had a point to make. But give me a couple years and I'll prove my point to you, and then it'll be okay that I killed everybody's kids, right?
We're dealing with a whole different thing. But here's the other problem, though. How do you know that all of those kids didn't just get a straight, direct ticket to heaven?
Okay. Watch back this point. Look back at this call. I really want you to, because I think I don't even need to continue talking for you to understand and see just how inadequate that answer was. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next call. Brandon,
but that's the, I appreciate it, but you hang up on me every time as soon as I hit something that you can't explain.
No, I can explain it. We could keep going down this road for hours and hours.
We've explained it before, though. This is a repeat of a call that we've had before, if not with you, then with many other people. And if you watch the show, a lot of this is also making sure that everybody gets to hear new things. So
saying who's to say those kids didn't get a one-way ticket to heaven? That has absolutely nothing to do with the statement that killing people's children.
Look at the one statement that Jesus, just look at one statement that Jesus made. When he
quit changing the subject. I care about you, Brandon, as a person, but
something out.
Frustrating sometimes. Why do you keep changing the subject away? Why do you keep changing the subject? When I said God did this terrible thing, V gave you an example of God doing this terrible thing, and all your response was, well, God had a point to make later, so it's totally okay that he did this horrible thing now, but it wouldn't be okay if I did that. And then when I asked you and brought that up, you said, well, who's to say they didn't go to heaven? Who cares? Does that make God better? Does that make the action of killing children better? No. So don't say, Eric, why do you keep hanging up?
You've read the Bible before.
No, the response is go back and listen, because I think that alone, who's to say that those kids weren't just going to go to heaven, is
just allow me to make one point, please.
Literally anyone watching can decipher that, can see that. 1 point, go ahead.
Well, just think about when Jesus said, you're better to cut off your hand or pluck out your eye rather than to enter into life. You're better to enter into life maimed than to have your whole body cast into hell. Okay, so he's saying right there that eternity is really life. Time is temporal.
Wait, let me see if I'm interpreting Brandon correctly. If you kill a kid, you send them straight to heaven, and that's preferable. Fetuses are kids, therefore Brandon is pro-abortion. It's a merciful thing.
Oh, yeah. Brandon, are you pro-abortion? Sounds like you got a good argument.
I'm totally against abortion.
seems very contradictory to this whole, it's okay to kill kids as long as they go straight to heaven situation.
I think you should call back and talk about abortion on an episode that B's on.
I really don't think you should do that.
Oh yeah, we could get into that big time. But anyways, it's whatever God chooses to do, I know that He is good and pure, and what He does.
And we give you a whole bunch of examples that you were not able to adequately respond to. But the good news is you can go back, watch this, and call back and try again.